So we are going to talk about changing chords today. Now, changing chords is it's I don't want to talk about bonsai planting because bonsai planting is about taking that plant and try to keep it within that you know it's very focused. You keep it on that pot, and no matter how you look at it, it has to grow within that pot. It cannot skew too much. If it skews too much, the pot will just overturn. The盆栽will just overturn with the plant, and so on and so forth. So it's quite like a contained and focused exercise, if you ask me. Um, Changing chords also depends on your hands. A lot of it on your hands and your fingers. Okay, and I remember doing a finger exercise that is just specific for helping you to do so. So you can check out a video and like any athlete, if you want to run fast, you don't just train your legs. They go bodybuilding, they pump their upper body, they do a lot of abdominal exercises to give you strength, upper back, give you balance, and so on and so forth. So what I'm trying to say is that everything is related. If you want to learn about changing chords, you need to know a few things. You need to get your hand coordination right. Okay, you need to get your rhythm right, your sense of rhythm. If you don't have the sense of rhythm, high chance it's going to throw you off because you're going to strum, and if you're not counting, you're not keeping the beat internally in your clock. High chance you're going to miss certain parts of that strumming. Okay, so I thought about coordination, talk about rhythm, and lastly, most importantly, is technique. Technique where how you strike your notes and everything. Okay, so I'm just not gonna talk so much about this. It's not theory at all. It's just basically technique already. So I'm just gonna pick up a guitar. I'm gonna use some simple exercises to show you how you can practice. Okay, but at the end of the day, you have to figure out for yourself how do your fingers react and respond to that. Okay, and if it's lacking in any way, okay, there are exercises that can help you iron out those kinks. Okay, that can help you improve on it and to give you better technique and control. Okay, so let's don't talk so much. Pick up the guitar, and we can just play a simple chord. In this case, I will let's just practice changing from G to C. Okay, I'm gonna do it slow, and I'm gonna do it like just a bit like quicker. So we change tempo, and then so that you can practice all around. Now, what I like to do when I play G and C is I like to play the full G. Okay, what is the full G? You have your pinky. Okay, on the last string. I hope you can see that. And then I have the ring finger on the D note. Okay, G, D. I hope you have learned the previous exercise on the tuning exercise, basically, that helps you to identify all the notes. And then you have the B, okay, and G. Okay, that's my G that I like, the full G. It is very different from the regular G that you hear. Okay, you hear the B ringing out, the B string. Okay, to me it sounds just ew. I have no words to describe. It sounds very harsh. Okay, if I put a D in there, the D, which is the fifth, it sounds really nice. And sometimes I don't even press the B note here. Okay, I play cheat. I just rest my finger on top, if you can see it. Okay, and I'll just play the notes G, D. This is G, D, G. So I got G, D, G, D, G, D, G. Just G and D. Sounds really nice. Okay, and let's practice changing the chord from G to C. Okay, now C is very simple. As you can see, pun not intended. As you can see, the C chord is like this, right? Okay. Now this is a regular C chord. Doesn't really sound that good also, but I found out that if you keep your fingers here, you can just swap. Can you hear that? Sounds really nice. I don't know about you, but it really sounds really good. And sometimes I avoid playing the E also. Okay? Avoid playing the third. So you get a very open sound. G and C. Okay, Okay, so let's just try strumming these two chords. I'm just gonna take it slow, and let's have a tempo like 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's just do downstrokes first. 3 and change 4. Okay, the whole point of the exercise is to allow you to change the chord without having any interruption in between. Okay, because when you're able to achieve that, what you get is you get a very smooth sound, right? Now, this is not desirable. This is the negative demonstration. This is what I don't want to see. Okay, you notice a few things. There was some hesitation while changing it. And there are some notes that are not, they are not coming out. And also one thing I hope you can pick up is that you notice that the audio image changes, the sound, the quality of the chord changes. Instead of having a very consistent G tone there, you change to this. Is that da 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 da? Now this is not to me lah. I don't think that it's very pleasant at all. So sometimes I just prefer to keep the G there and the C there. Okay. So yeah, maybe sometimes you need to do this, but this is what I like. Okay, so let's progress now. What we did basically was quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So 2 bars each. 3, 4. 1, 2. So this is a quarter note exercise. So what we want to do now is that we want to try experimenting. If you hear a drum, okay, a drum beat, you can hear the kick and the snare, right? Dum, da, dum, dum, da, dum, da. Okay, that kind of helps set up how you should strum. Now I'm just gonna introduce upstroke right now. Okay, the upstroke could signify a few things. It could be the upbeat of the kick, or it could be the downbeat of the snare. So depending how it goes. Okay, so let's just try this exercise. Okay, am I too fast? I'll slow it down. So down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down. Okay, just follow me. Sometimes your fingers feel pain, right, when you press. When you change, you can actually change during very in between the bars. For example, your hands are tired, right? And change. See, what I did was I just release, and press again. That's how I get by if my hands are really tired and all that. And you can, because if not, your fingers will get cramped. Okay, so that's just a tip for you. So let's try this exercise again. Down. 3, 4, and okay. So you notice that I have the internal clock going on. Okay, so let's make things a bit complicated. If you like the exercises just now, or if you following it well but not doing it, you think not doing it okay, just stop the video, rewind it, and then just repeat it again. That's a good thing about videos. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to play another strumming pattern. Now notice I'm still working on the strumming pattern. An exercise like this helps you to know when to change the chords. Okay, so it is important to know when to rest and when to change the chords before we get down to the changing of the chords. Okay, so let's try another pattern. We have the down, down. Okay, the quarter note. We have the down, down, the upstroke. Let's try something slightly more difficult to just push you to the edge. Hopefully not over the cliff, but enough to give you a challenge, something to work with. So let's just do all 8th notes, downbeat. 1 and 2 and 3 and okay, there's a few techniques involved. Basically, nothing more than just hitting it down. Okay, 1. But what I'm doing is I'm very specific in what are the strings I'm hitting. For example, when I'm doing the... If you look at my right hand, okay, just look at my right hand for a moment. I'm hitting these 3 strings. As I hit it, I'm muting it with the edge of my palm. Okay, this is called palm muting. So you get a very jig 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 sound. Kind of like some electric guitarists, rock heavy metal stuff, which I learned. As opposed to not muting it. Okay, now if you were to palm mute it, you get a very nice, subtle, soft, and sometimes muted sound, which is good when you want to add dynamics to a song. Okay, so what I do is I also consciously divide the strings like 3 here. This is the bass, and when I want to hit the when I want to do a full strum, I'll just hit the rest of the higher notes. So how does it relate to the drum concept I talked earlier? Remember I talked about the downbeat, the kick. Dum, dum, da, dum, dum, da, dum, dum, da. So your dum dum, the will be your low strings here, and the ta, your snare will be here. Okay, so try to see if you can hear the drum beat going on. Okay, so if you need this exercise to repeat again, go back to the tape or go back to the video and then just repeat it. So I'm just going to play one more time, right, for you to follow and for you to do an exercise. Okay, now I'm sure right now you have questions. How do I do the palm muting? Again, let me show you in detail. Okay, maybe I have not done so earlier. To rest, just put my palm here on top. Okay, which part is it? Is the fleshy part here. Now you have to feel, because every one of our hands are different. So one way to exercise is that, don't play any chord first. Just rest your palm. Make sure you can get this sound. Open, muted. Open, muted. Okay? Now when you do the muted strumming, it should not require any more effort than for you to just to rest your hand on it. Okay? That's the whole point of the exercise. You do not need to, adjust your hand to a very special location just to do it. And then if your favorite chord is E minor 7, okay, you can use that also. Okay, whatever chord you use, try it, even the A. Okay, there's so many variations to the palm muting technique. For example, I can even use it to do arpeggios. Now this is a bit advanced, but I'll just show you anyway. Arpeggios basically are just a chord but broken down into individual notes. For example, you have a C, right? Okay, I have the C. As opposed to that is the use of palm muting. There's lots of use. Okay, so we'll move on. We talked about quarter notes now. We use the upstroke. And we talked about 8 notes. Okay, so let's get down to changing chords. How do you change chords in between? Now the key thing, as I did mention earlier about playing the G and the C, is that you need to find common tones. Now what are these common tones? Common tones are tones that help you connect the chords together. Now I'm going to play a very simple chord progression, 4 chords. Okay, first one is G, second chord is C, I got A minor, and then I have D. Okay, so this is a cycle, very simple one. G, C, A minor, and D. Now, of course, if you were to look at the chord books, which, if you ask me, are not very helpful, they give you the chords like this. G, C, A minor, D. Oh. Now, we can make it better, okay? Use the G that I show you, the open G. Okay? Again, I don't play the third. I add the D there. I don't play the B. So I get just G, D, G, D, G, D. That's all. And then I use the C. Okay? Okay, can you see? I hope you can see. See? And then the A minor. Now, A minor, I take away this, the A itself. I don't need to repeat. So I'm using an A minor 7th. And I add a G note there. Okay, what are the chords? Is A, E, this is G, open, this is C, and this is G. Okay? I'm forcing you to go and figure out what are those notes, and that's so that you can press it. And then after A minor 7, I have a D sus. What's a D sus? This is a regular D. This is a D sus with a G note in there. So I'm going to play all these 4 chords with the G note in there. That's my common tone, and this is how it sounds. How does it sound? I hope it sounds good. So what goes on in my left hand? Let me just break it down for you and unpack this. Now, you probably would have realized that G to C is very simple. I just change from here to here. And from C to A minor is relatively simple. Can you see that the shape is there already? My these 2 fingers just jumps up. Okay? Now ignore this finger. Of course, I have to keep it like this. But if I were to fold it up so that you can see what are the chords, these are all the 3 notes that I'm pressing. Okay? That's why it looks very cryptic. Sometimes guitarists put his hands like this. You don't know what he's playing. But it's a good thing because I can always change chords. A, and then I can go to F. Okay? My fingers are accessible. Okay? So anyway, this is A minor 7. And why I'm putting a thumb here, only because I find it, you know, my thumb is too long, so I gotta wrap it around. And it's a good thing, you can use it to mute. Perhaps your thumb is that not long, not that long, so it's okay. So you can also put your thumb behind the neck, you know, to support, so that your wrist doesn't feel the strain. And then D sus. So how do I practice this? I take it very slowly. Okay? When I'm at home, I got nothing to do. I mean, I got something to do. I'm practicing basically. So I'm just going to do this. Strum it 1, 3, 4, and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, without lifting my fingers. And see? So I'm using a whole note over a bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And when I do this, the exercise, whole point is to be able to understand myself, my fingers, how they function. And what I want to do is I don't want to interrupt the notes. I don't want to disrupt the notes. I want them to ring. Okay? I'm going to go quarter notes now. I change here. 2, 3, 4, and change. And change. See that? One more time. And change. And change. And change. And change. And change. Now I'm gonna add different chords now, just to keep things exciting. Whenever I go to the downbeat, 3, 4, and change. 2, 3, 4, and change. 2, 3, 4, and change. Change, 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 change. Okay, I'm changing chord always on a downbeat. That's because I wrote the song like this. 3, 4, and change. Now, how about when I play fast? Same things apply. I always change on the downbeat. So ready, go. Down, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go down, 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 down. 2, 3, 4, and okay. So I hope now I know at this point it may appear very fast and all that. So what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna do another video on changing chords. But I hope I have kind of like helped you with that little information that I have given you. I hope it's sufficient to see what goes on between my head when I talk about changing chords. Okay, definitely there's lots of techniques being talked about earlier. Okay, I talked about you need coordination, you need a sense of rhythm. Okay, and lastly, you need to be able to be familiar with the chords, I guess, because you may say, Tony, this is really hard, you know. And it's only hard because you're not familiar with the chords. Huh? I mean, if you're familiar with the chords, really, I don't think that you cannot do it. I'm sure you can. And also changing the chord at the right time. Okay, I did mention that 2, 3. You need to know where the 1 is. Okay, the most basic is to just start with this exercise. Okay, and then proceed to the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you try to achieve is that when you change a chord, it should still stay in time, and then you can add all your strumming variations. Right? It shouldn't affect, because all your focus right now could be on the left hand, depending on where you want the song to go. I did one part just now where I just punched. Okay, my focus was on the right hand, but on the left hand, I know that I'm very familiar with these chords here, so that's how I can get by. Okay, so hope this is helpful. I'm going to do a few more for you so that you can get the hang of it. The next video probably we're going to do is bar chords. Okay, how to maneuver around them. And yep, see you.